Well, hello, friends. I hope you're having a great day. Welcome to Friday's edition of Take 5. Hey, we're talking about the subject that we've simply entitled Friends. This is going to be a series. It's going to carry on into next week. I'm going to talk about that this weekend, Lord willing. I know it's Mother's Day. Oh, speaking of Mother's Day, don't forget it is Mother's Day this weekend. Make sure that if you have the privilege of having your mom with you still in this world, that you tell her Happy Mother's Day. And guys, let me tell you something. I know that wife of yours, I know she's not your mother, but if you have children, she's a mother of your children, so it would do you good to tell her how good of a mother that she has been, a great and godly woman. Throw that in there, and I promise you it will go well with you. That's this weekend. Right now, we're talking about friends, so let's deal with this. So we're trying to learn what it is to be a biblical friend, to have a biblical friend, and what the Bible says about it, and get away from the watered down, dead version of society today. I believe the church has made a issue out of following suit with things that the world defines, and we shouldn't do that. We've allowed the world to define love, and we should not do that. It should be defined according to the Scriptures. We allowed the world to define marriage, and that should not be. That should be according to the Scriptures. We've allowed the world to define gender. That should not be. It's according to the Scriptures. And we can go on and on and on and on with this, but let's just stick to this one thing. We cannot allow the world or social media to define what it is to be a friend. Past 2 days, we've talked about a couple of things that we've learned from friendship. Number one, we were made for friendship. That's why God designed us. That's the way He created us. This started back before man was ever created in the eternal Trinity that is God. And then you see that developing there into the first man and woman, and it should still be alive and well today. We were created for friendship. And then number two, friendship is what makes us. Friendship helps develop our purpose and our character, especially when you have the type of friends that David had, a friend that is convinced of your purpose, a friend that will concede to your purpose, and a friend that will correct you for your purpose. When you have that, friendship will make you. I want you to remember this one thing about friendship. It's not just some passing relationship or connection. Friendship should be understood as we look at it from a biblical perspective. It should be understood as a covenant, an agreement, a solemn pledge between two parties. And so when you listen to it from that frame of mind, it begins to sound like a marriage, doesn't it? And that's really what it is. It's that type of covenant. It's that type of alliance. And that definition is why you cannot call everybody that is in your circle friends. Every one of them can't be considered biblical friends. You will have a lot of acquaintances and a lot of people that will come in contact, a lot of companions and a lot of buddies and pals. You'll have a lot of that in your life, and that's okay, as long as they are not pulling you away and leading you down a road away from God. It's okay. But when you begin to look at true biblical friends, all of those people that you're acquainted with, they don't fit in that area of covenant and agreement and alliance and solemn pledge. They don't fit in that area. Social media is one of those areas that where we get our definition today from friend. And I promise you, all those people that are on social media that you're friends with, I promise you, they do not fit into that area of a covenant and agreement and alliance or a solemn pledge. They don't fit there. I've got about 940 friends on Facebook, and all of them are not those kind of friends. As a matter, and I hope they don't get mad at me because of this, if any of them's watching, but it's just a fact. You don't have that many people that fit into that definition, that framework of biblical friendship. So social media is not the final authority on what a true friend is. And if you've been involved with it for a while, you've learned about this function. I mentioned it earlier in the week, but we didn't talk about it. You've learned a couple of functions that there's on social media. One is unfriend, one's unfollow, and the other one's block. And that usually happens when someone decides they don't want to be friends with you anymore. And most of the time it's because of your opinion or your political or religious views or something you've done or said in public. And I'm not saying that that's a bad function, because sometimes you really need to unfriend people on social media and in the real world. But what it proves, the way people do it, just so casually and easily, it proves that they don't recognize that friendship is a covenant, an agreement, an alliance, or a solemn pledge. When I can just undo it by just simply pushing a button, that means you and I were never friends to begin with. If all I got to do is block or unfollow, just change my status, my relationship status, or whatever the case may be, and we're no longer friends, then you and I were never friends to begin with. Real quick, a little story here. This is actually pretty funny, and it actually happened, and it kind of validates what we're talking about. In 2009, Burger King unintentionally proved how committed people were to their social media friends through an ad campaign. In that ad, Burger King said, if you would unfriend 10 of your Facebook friends, that they'd send you a coupon for a free Whopper. Well, the way it worked was when you unfriended that person after you downloaded the little Burger King doodad, when you unfriended that person, Burger King would then send a notification to that person that they had been unfriended by you for this delicious hamburger. And this was supposed to make that person say, wow, this must be a great hamburger. I believe I'll go out and get one. Well, the New York Times reported that the ad campaign actually worked a little too well, because within the first week, 7 days, within the first week, 233,906 friendships were terminated, and Burger King was obligated to give away 23,000 Whoppers, and they had to discontinue the ad because it was going to break them if they didn't do that. I guess what people proved was that a free hamburger was more important than their social media friends. Now, as funny as that is, and it really is funny, it kind of validates what I'm telling you. If we can unfriend a person so easily and so casually, unfollow and block a person so easily and so casually, even for something as simple as a free hamburger, you have to ask yourself, were they ever really your biblical friends in the first place? I believe this alone proves that society doesn't really know or understand or value the definition of a true biblical friend. Because if they are a true biblical friend, it is a covenant, it is an alliance, it is an agreement, it is a solemn pledge between two parties. It's something that you have chosen to participate in, and you do it through the good, through the bad, through the ugly, and even through the Whopper. You do it for that. So think about that, friend. If all I've got to do is just hit a button to unfriend you, unfollow you, unblock you, you never were my friend. I never were yours in the first place. So let's get away from, I'm not against social media, but let's get away from the watered down version of friend, and let's learn what it is to be a true biblical friend. Hey, it's been good being with you this week. I look forward to being with you next week as we come into a brand new set of Take 5 devotions. We're going to be talking about the same thing, but we're going to be looking at some different angles. I look forward to doing that. Hey, until then, God bless you. Have a great weekend. Hey, trust the Lord, my friend. He will never fail you.